Now, in a dramatic escalation to the 2-year leadership tussle within the National Union of Road Transport Workers, yesterday saw the court reinstated National President Tajudeen Barua assume control or attempt to assume control of the union's national secretariat in Abuja in an attempt to dislodge Musiliu Akinsoya, popularly known as MC Oluomo, following a series of court rulings that reshaped the union's power structure. Barua insists that occupants of the secretariat serving under MC Oluomo have refused to vacate the premises despite several appeals and declared his actions were backed by 2 court judgments delivered in his favor. He was escorted into the headquarters by supporters who took down MC Oluomo's portrait and began to deface it with a knife. There are also reports of physical clashes leading to 1 victim sustaining severe machete wounds to the neck. Following the secretariat takeover, Barua addressed the press to justify the validity of his actions as loud bangs could be heard going off in the background.
We can see that we don't hold anything like cutlass.
Yes.
Gun, we don't need this.
Yes.
Because we are political trade unionists.
Yes.
They wound 3 people.
Yes.
Then we saw Alaye with gun, run with gun and machete. So Alaye is one who machete that man from here. So it's unfortunate that we have took that man, we have taken that man to court.
Yes.
We have taken that man to hospital. So that's only resistance that they have today.
Well, the drama did not end there. Shortly after this, a video of Barua being whisked away by the police surfaced online as he and 6 others were reportedly charged for attempting to enforce a court order in the absence of a court sheriff. The FCT Police Command have since issued a statement affirming the arraignment of the 7 individuals, stating that it was in response to a distress call that 300 people bearing cutlasses, bottles, bows and arrows had stormed the NURTW HQ. The police also dismissed reports that they were involved in a shooting. Well, this is what played out yesterday. I mean, shocking events. Even until this morning, I believe this is still trending all over social media. There's so many ways to look at it, but I think for me, one of the major things is that we know NURTW's very sensitive role in electoral matters. We have a tight deadline to elections, and it's unfortunate that these are the shenanigans playing out in a period where everybody should be all hands on deck preparing for the elections. Rufai, let me kick off with you. They're saying, Lagos people, we have taken our Agberoism to Abuja. Is that so?
Well, Vimbai, I mean, like I always say, not quoted to me anyway, culture will eat strategy for breakfast. For the fact that National Union of Road Transport Workers, a union that's supposed to fight for the rights of workers, are busy meting out violence about their leadership because the leadership of NURTW has now become something so powerful that you make a lot of money. I mean, MC Olu almost said with his own mouth that he spent close to 700 million on President Tinubu's last election. The question you should ask is, how did he get such a money for being head of a union? If you ask that question, then you see the reason why this fight goes on. So did Barua win the court case? Yes. But was that the best approach to take thugs in there and scatter the place and everything? No. But you would also have thought that once Barua had won the court case, shouldn't MC Oluomo just surrender? I mean, if he's not going to a higher court, or has he gone to a higher court? But it goes back to the system. So why is it that we're even having NURTW fighting, faction fighting, and it's become national news? Because how powerful they are. And because they are powerful shows part of the defects of Nigeria. Because they have shown over the years that they can use violence in aid of the politicians. And let me humor you by saying these are the same people that INEC allows to carry sensitive materials during elections. People that we know that they are slanted, openly partisan. MC Oluomo once came out to say he spent about 700 million for President Tinubu's re-election. MC Oluomo is tied to NURTW. INEC still gives our electoral materials to this partisan body. not the body headed by a partisan leadership. So it goes forward to show the decadence. Yeah, Barua should be able to explain himself. He should have been able to effect something with a bailiff, you know. Violence is never the way forward. I condemn the violence that happened. But the fact that we are talking about them shows that there's something amiss in the country. And that's always, always what happens in the end.
Well, the Union of Road Transport Workers is a trade union, even if it is a private organization. But they are popularly known, regarded within the public space as a collection of touts, motor-park touts, and convenient political thugs during election seasons. The dilemma that we don't understand here is that why is it that the NURTW is always talked about because of the crisis in the Southwest? There must be motor parks in other parts of Nigeria. Why is it always the Southwest branch of the NURTW? That should be investigated because we don't hear all these popular names, whatever the name is, you know, from other parts of Nigeria. Now the Nigerians, the Southwesterners, they are fighting over the control at the national level. And that was the drama you saw yesterday. 2 years ago, Tajuddin Barua, is claiming that the court, industrial court, and the Court of Appeal ruled in his favor, but that they have not been able to enforce the judgment. Yeah. Now, there is a process for enforcing the judgment of court. And if the other party refuses to respect the rule of law, you go back to the same court. The court has powers to charge the person who is disrespecting the court for contempt. You go to court to seek a proper interpretation of the judgment that you claim had been secured. You don't resort to self-help. Going to the headquarters to remove Musiliu Akensanya, popularly known as MC Oluomo, as posters or photographs, amounts to self-help. He said in the interview that I saw, that's Barua, that they didn't have guns, but when they got there, they were, you know, having gunshots in the background. Now, Alhaji Musiliu Akensanya, MC Oluomo, he has responded. He says the judgment that was Barua was using as justification, that he was not even joined in that suit, and that there are still cases in court at the Court of Appeal level, and therefore, he remains the president national of the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers. But if you look at the power play, MC Oluomo has more weight with the government of the day, to such an extent that when he goes on national visit, he even inspects a guard of honor manager for him. But this drama is all subtextually about who takes charge in the 2027 election. We don't want that distraction. We don't want touts, motor-park persons who can barely speak English language. I was having a headache listening to Alhaji Barua because the English, you know...
you can just communicate to your people.
Okay, but I try to make sense. I try to make sense out of it. But these people who call themselves union, up national, up road, so they should not constitute a problem in the 2027 election. And the security agencies should be vigilant and make sure that they check any kind of impunity within the road transport workers.
I just want to say this is anarchy, and this is when you don't respect the rule of law. Yeah. How can you have a court judgment and you have to enforce it by yourself? Because after you said to you, it's just the state of Nigeria playing out in a small state. Anyone can decide at this point not to obey a court judgment based on certain reasons that they made up. I remember when the court judgment was had and Barua was said to be instated as the president of NURTW, but because the other person has powers that be behind him, he had the audacity to not obey the court ruling. So these are the things that we see in this country that is so bizarre that we're like, what kind of... You know, at every level, nobody wants to obey.
You know, we live in a country now that court judgment has become advisory.
It's advisory.
Well, you know what? Speaking of orders, somebody yesterday was asking, where is your court order? And that was Abubakar Malami. Let's go to the next story. From right here in Lagos, where a new video trending online has sparked reactions as it shows Posters splashed across the city stating Oshodi Isolo local government area welcomes President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, First Lady Oluremi Tinubu and Sheyi Tinubu back to Nigeria from their state visit in the UK. In the clip posted by the social commentator and younger brother of former Ekiti State Governor Fayose, that's Isaac Fayose, on Monday, Fayose captioned it, "Lagos belongs to the Tinubu family." Let's take a look.
I see for Lagos, Baba, Daddy, Mommy, Son, they are the ruler of our country now. They are the people ruling us now. Can you see? Everywhere for Lagos. You see? Mama, Papa, Pikin, all of them. So you see what I mean? In Lagos, this is the first time we will have the son, president the son, president the mother, and president the father. On top waiting, democracy is not a family heritage.
Papa, Mama, Pikin. But you know, the level of psychophancy we're seeing at the moment needs to be studied, because of course we know that the first family has not commissioned this themselves, but this is the level, the extent that people are going to get a little bit of favor from them. Yeah, well,
That's just encouraging.
About psychophants. The chairman of Oshodi Solo local government actually has more important things to attend to.
He does.
If you were to assess his performance, you would see that going to print posters to welcome the president and his family from the UK state visit is just an act of frivolity. And I think that's condemnable to the extent that it is about, psychophancy. But the Fayose, Isaac Fayose in that video, if you listen to him all the way to the end of the video in circulation, you just see that this is a village boy, griping, because he's associating the increase in fuel price to the fact that you have a family that has overtaken democracy. No, it's not Tinubu's fault that fuel prices have gone up. What we're reeling from, what we're suffering from, is the effect, the fallout of the crisis in the Middle East. And it is not only here in Nigeria. The substantive argument is the argument we have been pushing, that what is the Nigerian government doing to meet the people halfway? NSC has spoken, Petroan has spoken, other petroleum marketers have spoken. Government has not yet come up with any articulate response. Yesterday, Prime Minister Keir Starmer had to summon an emergency Cobra meeting. Now, that Cobra meeting had the governor of the Central Bank, Bank of England, in attendance. And the issue was, what do we do about increasing borrowing costs for the UK and the corresponding impact on cost of living? And what can we do for the people? As Nigeria held such a meeting. Yesterday, we listed other countries, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Thailand, Japan, that have tried to do something for their people to meet them halfway, including countries that said, don't use staircase, avoid the air conditioner, wear short sleeve shirts, all of this. So what exactly is Nigeria doing? And it is in that regard that we can say Governor Sheyi Makinde has taken the initiative to say we are giving you 10,000 top-up. That's what he called it. But 10,000, is not a lot of money. But, Nigerians say it is the mind, the intention that matters. Maybe some other states will come and say, okay, we'll add more.
Let everybody cut their coat according to their...
As done anything.
You said what?
In a country where others have not done anything, you're saying 10,000.
Yeah, it's something. So, as for fuel prices, the problem with Nigeria, which we fear, is that even when the war ends, will the prices come down? Yeah. When prices go up in Nigeria, they come down. Partly out of the cynicism and the greed of service providers.
And this is where active regulators need to come in and, start to do their work, because there's concerns all around, and this time around, it will touch us all. Well, that's all we have time. Okay, no, I understand there's time for our milestone very quickly.